Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Three Geeks podcast. I was told intro should be about 5 seconds, so that's what you guys got. I am very excited to sit here and talk with my friends about a lot of things that happened this week. One of those being The Last of Us, and we're going to talk some other zombie projects. There's a lot to talk about. Lots to talk about. I was very excited to find out that Chucky was, one, nominated for a GLAAD Award, and two, renewed for season 3. That's great news. I'm surprised it took so long because it's one of the best shows on television right now. Also, we got a renewal of Cobra Kai. As much of a fan as I am of this series, I'm glad that they're wrapping it up on a high note, and I can't wait to see where season 6 takes us and what ridiculousness the characters are going to get into. And Only Murders in the Building is going to get just a little bit better. Like, I didn't think it was possible to add to this already stacked cast, but no, we're getting Meryl Streep. And I can't wait to see what they got in store for us there, too. What have you guys been up to? How's you guys doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I couldn't be any better right now, Justin, if I tried.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Cool. Yep, doing okay. Managing.
Nice. Watched a very boring episode of Mattalk. Spoiler alerts for Mattalk that's coming tomorrow. You guys can check that out there. But, yeah, lots to get to. So did you guys have a chance to check out The Last of Us?
The first 20-ish minutes, I really liked it. But yeah, I didn't get all the way through, but I've enjoyed it a lot so far.
Damn it, Justin! You had one assignment this week.
I know, just the worst.
I haven't watched it yet either, so I'm slow on HBO shows in the first couple episodes, and then I'll pick up probably like episode 4. I'll be like, I'm gonna check this out finally.
Yeah, then you get to binge a little bit. I get it. I did watch it, and I have no marriage to the game. I know briefly what happened. I was never really a PlayStation guy up until this year. We'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about consoles. But The Last of Us is so good. It is very well done. Pedro Pascal is just great. Is he just gonna do shows where he protects smaller people from now on? The Mandalorian and this. I'm all for it. Pedro Pascal just continue to protect the smallings.
Pedro Pascal for live action Banjo and Kazooie.
Oh, I would love that.
There we go.
But the casting is great on this show. The writing is solid. The suspense is solid. Even the people that played the video game, this is the first adaptation in a long time where it just seems to be getting love from every angle. There's not people complaining, this does not feel like my video game. And I think the formula is right because video game movies, they always try to do something new with the source material. They try to create a new story or whatever. And when they make books, they tend to follow the book's formula. They may change some things up, but the story is, relatively the same. I'm kind of glad that they did that with this. They didn't try to make something new. They're just adapting the game's story, and I think that's working really well for them.
I mean, it depends on the franchise, too, because, yeah, like you're saying, Last of Us has a pretty straightforward story. There's no flexibility. It's not like there's Last of Us Mario Party or something, whereas something like, say, Mario or Sonic or something that has a wide-spanning, decades-long franchise where they try all these different things, and when you do a movie adaptation, you're like, what do we pull from? Do we pull from the classic old-school games? Do we pull from some of the newer stuff that they've done? Do we pull from the sillier aspects and so forth? But here, it's Last of Us, it's basically, it's a novel. It's a novel, just happens to be a video game, so you stick to that, essentially.
Absolutely. And there's not a lot of action in this show yet. I mean, there's a few small pieces, but for the most part, it's pretty laid in drama. And I'm really digging that aspect of it because even The Walking Dead at a point became, okay, we got to get this action piece in here and we got to make sure we do this. And it felt a little formulaic, but so far they have not done that in this show yet.
Does it follow the structure of the first game where you basically do start off on breakout day? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from what I've been told from people that play the game thoroughly, so far it's fairly 1-to-1.
That's going to be the hurdle for me because nothing will beat that opening experience of the first game where you're where you're like, what's going on? I was given no context as to where you're going in this, and then all of a sudden that hard right into this is depressing.
Yeah.
I can tell you, man, even knowing the story, I know the basic beats of the story, even knowing what happens to the daughter and so forth, it still punched me in the face emotionally, which I was really happy for. It was still able to pack that punch. But
well, yeah, that'll be once if it buys me on that, then I'll be in, because that's going to be the high emotional bar to clear.
Yeah, very good HBO Max show. It'll probably get canceled by them next week because they tend to. Just kidding, but no, check it out. It's definitely a solid 5 out of 5 for the first episode. It just emotionally packs that punch, and it's definitely something you want to go back and watch. Whoops, I accidentally threw Justin out of the show. I did not mean to do that, Justin. I
Don't watch it,
apologize.
Justin.
Did I demonetize us? Did I do something wrong?
You didn't. Go do your homework, apparently.
That's right. Go watch this show.
Why are you here? You should be watching the show.
Yeah, Justin. How dare you sleep?
Oh. So I did. I thought it'd be funnier with Max here, but I thought these would be funny. So I'm running through like OBS, and I thought like let's do, and then we can do this. Days since last monetization. Max's wrong way.
I think
Max's demonetization clock, and then I can have a timer.
That's really cool.
And then we can do that.
Can that only show up? That can only show up on your display, though, right? It can't show up.
Yeah, but we can set it up through OBS wherever, right? I can do any type of thing.
For our audio listeners, Justin has a demonetization clock and a days. Is it days since last cuss word?
Days since last monetization, which is zero.
Well, now you're tempting fate, because he may be listening, or he may be watching right now, and he'd be like, "Oh, it's so tempting."
Yeah. We could ruin this.
How can I throw a gear into the works here?
That's funny, man. I like that a lot. So that's what you've been doing instead of watching last.
That was last night for
Honestly,
me.
worth it. Worth it.
I thought it was fun.
Nice. I did log into StreamYards this morning, and I saw a test. Was that you? The testing?
Yeah, I had like 4 of those. I was trying to figure out audio, so like if I ever wanted to run through my desktop and my mic through StreamYards, and there's like virtual audio boards you can figure out, but at 11 o'clock at night, it wasn't worth it. But you definitely can do it.
Yeah, those will not be up during our Thanksgiving or our Valentine's Day love. Get ready for love show. I can tell you right now that show's going to be dirty, and I'm apologizing in advance. But Justin, what did you do instead of watching Last of Us? What did you watch? I mean, anything
this
fun?
Stuff. What did I watch? I rewatched Babysitter's Killer, that Queen Bee one, the second of a Babysitter Killer thing on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I like that movie. It cracked me up. It's just a fun, dumb watch, but I enjoy it a lot. I want to watch Babylon. I haven't got a chance to get to Babylon yet, though. I'd like to watch it too.
Given how like split down the middle people are about, I'm genuinely curious about it, because I typically enjoy Damien Chazelle movies. I don't know. I haven't seen La La Land, but I've seen his other stuff. I've seen like Whiplash and things like that. So I'm genuinely curious, like what people either really love about it or really hate about it.
Right. Yeah.
I've heard Tobey Maguire is excellent, though, being whatever he's doing in it.
He's usually pretty solid in general. You know, like Spider-Man with me was a little iffy, but yeah.
That's fun. What about you, Mike? I know you watched Bullet Train based on Justin and I's recommendation.
I love Bullet Train.
Can we switch that up to Mike's demonetization clock? I watched a couple of things, and I got more.
You watched the second one.
I enjoyed things more as I was watching stuff. I started off my not early weekend, but I started off usually I get into viewing movies like later in the week, and so I watched the documentary, the hatchet wielding hitchhiker, which is about that guy from 2013, Kai, who was that meme smash, 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 and then he actually committed a murder apparently. So that was disgusting, because it was like all the people, the press agents and people were like, we're gonna make this meme guy a thing. We're gonna get him on Jimmy Kimmel, and we're gonna blow up his Q rating, even though he's like, there's clearly something going on with this guy that he needs more than just like national widespread popularity. He needs like services. He needs help. Mm-hmm. And so basically the documentary is just them being like, none of us saw that coming. And it's like, no, you chose not to see it coming, so that's on you. So terrible. Then I watched Bullet Train at your recommendation, and I mentioned to you guys in the chat, it was already kind of an annoying day, and I was genuinely looking forward to watching it. I was like, I'm going home to Netflix. I've got it on my, watch list. I'm just gonna settle down and lose myself to about 2 hours of silly action fluff, and it just annoyed me further because I'm sorry. I'm glad you guys like it. I'm glad there's an audience for it, certainly, but I just don't see it. I couldn't get past a couple of things. The fact that it is trying to basically try hard with a bunch of different styles, a bunch of different influences that it's clearly lifting from. The fact also, too, that the Asian actors are the more fascinating people in the movie, and it's a shame because this novel, I guess, originally all the leads were Asian, all the leads were Japanese, but instead we're left with Brad Pitt doing his bumbling around like a lovable doofus thing for like the 20th time, and Aaron Taylor
doofus.
Aaron Taylor Johnson does it so much better in like Burn After Reading and stuff like that. Like here, and also I just couldn't get into the action too. Like I'm like, okay, whatever, characters are poop. Let's get into the action, and the action didn't wow me. Sorry, gentlemen. Like, yeah, I thought it'd be cool. Close quarters fighting on a train didn't work for me. Anytime they went outside the train or the big finale at the end, I'm just like, green screen everywhere. As far as the eye can see, I don't care. I don't care if it's stylized. It works for something cartoony like Deadpool. It doesn't work here for me. And yeah, none of the lead characters wowed me except for Andrew Koji and Haruki Sanada. Like I was like, give these guys their movie. Scorpion and Storm Shadow teaming up. Hell yeah. Give me that. Give me that. These gentlemen have far more gravitas than everyone else here. So, and then I watched Birth of the Dragon because I'm like, let's see something that has an actual like, Asian lead, and it doesn't because it's Bruce Lee, it's Wong Jackman, and the imaginary white kid that they befriended to help take down human trafficking in Chinatown in the 60s. And I was mad about that. I'm like, gross, because Bruce Lee's portrayed as sort of a jerkwad in it too. So I'm just like, whatever. So after that, I decided, you know what? Let's watch Enter the Dragon, because I haven't watched Enter the Dragon in a while. And I'm like, there we go. That's the sweet spot for me. Enter the Dragon. Good stuff.
I could have steered you away from the Bruce Lee movie. Sorry you had to suffer through that.
It was so. I mean, I expect nothing less from WWE films. So.
Oh yeah.
Is everyone excited for the Invincible 2 season? I saw there's a trailer release. It's coming out later this year.
I mean, it's like a teaser with Seth Rogen and Steven Yeun voicing their characters, and they're just like, "I hear you've been working on some stuff," and he's like, "Yeah, there's stuff coming." And they're like, "When are we gonna get it? Like an exact date?" I expect the Seth Rogen laugh or something. But
I love that Seth Rogen is like killing it in comic book adaptations. Something about that just makes me happy because he does The Boys too, right? It's him.
Yeah, he's what's his name? Alan the Alien or something like that. I can't remember what the character.
That's Invincible, right? He's talking about The Boys.
Well, yeah. Invincible. Steven Yeun is Invincible. Seth Rogen is the orange alien with the.
I think maybe I misunderstood, but Jason, you're saying Seth Rogen's a part of The Boys too, right?
Yeah, The Boys on Amazon.
Oh, The Boys. I'm sorry, I thought you said The Boys.
No.
It's all right. It works both ways. I didn't know
it worked out.
Well, and he did Preacher and all that stuff too, so he's been involved in comic book stuff for a while. I'm waiting with bated breath to see what he does with Ninja Turtles, because that's coming out this year.
I hope it's good. Ninja Turtles needs a win outside of the video game.
It's going to be more of the family-friendly Ninja Turtles stuff. Certainly, it's animated, but if he can make it somehow more enjoyable than the Bay stuff, good on him.
I love the second Bay movie. I know I'm in an island by myself, but there's something about that.
I mean,
that I love.
I'm kind of with you too, because I have that Ninja Turtle filter going for me all the time. So I'm just like, it's stupid, and it's better than the first one. So, but also, yeah, I just need something good.
Yep. My highlight of the week, and we're about to watch it. I am so excited for this. This trailer looks like it's a breath of fresh air for this franchise. I am all in, and we're gonna check it out right now.
we need to be talking over? Is that what's her name?
Ortega's Wednesday being so popular is really going to help this franchise.
Oh,
Oh. Pretty brazen.
Yeah.
like this is just New York though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Go to the wrong bodega.
I'm like, you all might be wowed by this, but I'm like, that was moving in day for me.
I think this is the best Scream trailer they've ever released out of all 6 movies,
I
personally.
have the secret. There's a darkness inside of me.
Because all the other ones have been more or less the same. It starts with a phone
It
call
followed me
and then
here,
goes from there.
and it's gonna keep coming for us. We share a certain history.
I'm glad Hayden Pantiero's
This
back.
isn't like
I really
any
liked her in
Ghostface.
4.
What is this place? A shrine.
And like the Museum of Ghostface memorabilia.
Lure him in.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Hello.
Let's play a game.
You know you're like the 10th guy to try this, right? It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
Maybe.
Well, Courtney Cox just demonetized us.
Son
It's
of
alright. Well, we're not monetized anyway. We have to get a certain amount of subscribers first. So subscribe, everybody.
That's why I'm gonna
Subscribe.
shoot you in the head.
She does not say head. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Okay, maybe. I guess dipshit is passable then.
Maybe safe. Yeah.
Want me?
I have been hearing it a lot in more mainstream, like green band trailers. So
Yeah. We're
Guys,
like,
Joaquin Phoenix is on that train. Send in the clowns. See, I was like, okay, yeah, it's like Scream flash mob, Ghostface flash mob, basically. It's gonna be more than one killer. I mean, there'll be like a ringleader, but it's gonna be more than one killer.
yeah, I'm in. I'm glad that they're kind of breaking away from the formula. Seems like Ghostface is more open with being out in the open, but like Mike said, it's kind of a New York thing. Like he can probably get away with a lot of
Everyone's
kills
gonna be jaded.
before anybody recognizes
Well,
him.
even on that like bus line, because in this universe, like these murders are pretty well known. Like they've got like world renowned like attention and stuff like that. So like even on that subway scene, like people wearing Ghostface masks, no one's like phased by that, and everyone's just like, whatever. And I should correct. I was like, yes, spoilers, but I do understand that the killer has been multiple people in the past before.
Yes, I concur. I think the killer is somebody we've seen in the movies before. I do like that they brought Hayden back. I really liked her in 4, and we never saw a body. And Wes Craven always said she was still alive, so I'm glad we're getting her back. I guess they had to look for her. Like nobody knew in Hollywood where she was, so they had to like reach out to directors and producers to find Hayden Panettiere to try to get her in this movie. So I'm glad they did.
Had to take it easy after
Yeah.
Heroes. Or
No,
whatever
she had some
some stuff.
some issues, but she's I guess worked through them.
Okay, that's good. Good for
It
her.
looks better than 5, and I loved 5, so I'm in. Justin, what do you think of that? Because I know you're a mild fan of the Scream franchise. You're not like me who just loves it and wants everything to do with
Yeah,
it.
Miles. I wasn't a big fan of the last movie. It was okay. It was fine. But, I mean, I'll go see it. I make no promises of liking it, but I'll definitely go see it.
You can't. Yeah, you can't make it. I wish that. I know we've had the Scream TV series before, but I kind of wish that they'd move this over to TV because I think it lends itself a little bit better. Keep the actors. You can get Courtney Cox and Hayden Panettiere for a limited series, and I think Nev Campbell not coming back is probably going to be one of the best things that ever happened for this franchise because it's going to feel a little bit more fresh, and Jenna Ortega is probably going to shift more to the lead of the series. I'm okay with that. I like her a lot as an actress.
Do you give an in-universe reason why Sydney's not there anymore?
It's in New York. I mean, it's probably an easy.
That's it. Okay.
Probably an easy way to come up with it. I'm sure we'll find something out.
Give it a couple years. She'll be taking over the Jamie Lee Curtis. Like I've been living in a bunker for a while.
Well, Scream sets it up for that. So, like in 20 years, they can do the sequels never happened. Here is the true follow up to Scream 1. I totally am expecting that to happen because it even fits their formula, the whole meta thing. So
it's like the Kimmy Schmidt thing. They come out of the scream bunker. Just they find her in the ground.
unbreakable Sydney Prescott.
What's your thoughts on the Rick and Morty stuff? That Justin Roiland might be going to jail.
Yeah. I mean, that sucks that it turns out he's a total monster in that
Total
regard.
POS, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that really sucks. But at the same time, like, I'm one of those people, like, I like their show. I like Rick and Morty. I don't mind its harsher, comedy at times. It's more nihilistic kind of outlook because that actually kind of reflects a lot of my own sensibilities at times. But I'm also not like so overly like I'm not a Pickle Rick person. I'm not that obnoxious about enjoying the show that if it goes away or if they have to shuffle it up a little bit, like I'm not going to be like devastated. Like I enjoy it and I'll certainly rewatch it if it stays on HBO Max, however long HBO Max stays around. But if this is kind of the end of the run of the show, like all the best to the talent behind it that aren't POSs that I hope find great work outside of it. But yeah,
I'm show okay has to die for justice, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Or it doesn't even have to die. Like there are people out there that do pretty good Rick and Morty impressions. Like I know he voices 80% of the show, but you can find ways around it, and I'm sure your diehards would understand too. I mean, there'd be some growing pains, but let's put it this way, if you're idolizing more the man, even after all this stuff has been brought to light, then there's something about your evaluation of fandom that you need to reassess. Like,
because he's only the co-creator, right? So they could essentially.
But he's the voices, he's
Rick and Morty. So
yeah, no, I get that, but you, like Mike said, you can find voiceover actors that can do just as good of a job. Yeah,
for sure.
So what it is, whatever it is, and sure, I'll be disappointed if it goes away, but also I'm like, I totally understand if it needs to go away.
Sure, I agree too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it. I mean, we've already gotten more than they were expecting to give us. We had 3 seasons, and that was supposed to be the end of it, but more came.
The thing is that they've always tried to take a hard line against serialization, and I don't know what they're trying to do too. Every time they feel like the viewing audience is like, oh, I can't wait to see where this leads, they try to subvert that. So that might get old fast regardless. So at this point, it's like, yeah, that's be kind of the ultimate expression on Rick and Morty. It ends on a huge, big question mark and leaves you unsatisfied. That's totally in the spirit of the show.
Yeah, go watch. If you guys are big Rick and Morty fans and it gets canceled, check out Lower Decks.
Wasn't that also produced by Roiland?
That'd be funny. Just half of the cartoons on.
Yeah. Well, he's got that one. He's got Rick and Morty. I think Lower Decks is produced by his production or somebody close to the Rick and Morty production, and then Solar Opposites was. I never watched Solar Opposites, so I don't know anything about it. So,
has anyone checked out the '90s show?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Good?
I watched it with my daughter. It's not as good as that '70s show. Like if you're going into it expecting that '70s show, you're going to be disappointed. It's made for people who have a kid. Like I don't think it's made like Justin. If you go into it, I don't think you're going to find as much fun in the show. I mean, Red Foreman is the reason I wanted to watch the show, and that it delivers on 1,000%. The original cast just has cameos in the first episode, and then Fez a few times during the series because he plays a hairdresser in town, and then Leo Tommy Chong is also in a couple episodes, and he delivers. Like the original cast delivers. Like if they wanted to bring back that '70s show and just have them all play teenagers again, I'd be 1,000% in because they all mostly look the same. But yes, it is a sitcom, but I'm going to praise 2 of the actors because I think they did a great job. The actress who plays Leia, Eric and Donna's daughter, she has all of Topher Grace's mannerisms down. She makes the same faces. Like you can tell, like if you were trying to convince me that was Topher Grace's daughter, I would believe you because she's got it all down 1,000%. And then there's also a young Kelso. Like Kelso has a son. in the group, and he's her love interest, whatever. And he looks and has all of Ashton's mannerisms down like to a T. And I was just really impressed with those two on the cast. But it's a teenage show. It does have that where it crosses the line a little bit, like that '70s show did, as far as what they're going to try to fit into the humor, like sexually and drugly. But yeah, the show's fine. Like, I don't hate watching it. I would never recommend this to Mike or Max because they're not going to get the same enjoyment. Like, I enjoy watching it with Kylie and her seeing, like the younger representation, kind of her version of that '70s show. Mm-hmm. But I'm there for Red Foreman. Like, that's what I'm there for. I love all of his foot in the asses, and I love how much nicer he is to his granddaughter than he was to his son. And just his interactions to having another Kelso running around the house is also fantastic. And I love everything with him and Deborah Joe Rupp. They are 1,000% great. And then, like I said, the cameos were fine. Ashton Kutcher was in it for like a minute, and it was everything you expected out of seeing that character 20 years later. He's now married to Jackie. And even Mila Kunis, like her cameo, like you would have thought no time passed. Like they all came in, did their characters, and left. Eric was on pretty much the whole first episode, and then they leave their daughter for the summer. But yeah, the show's fine. I'm enjoying it. Would I be watching it on my own? I don't know. I can't honestly answer that. But I have enjoyed it. It's given me what I wanted out of that '90s show. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people. I'd recommend it to specific groups. So I'm curious to see what you think, Justin, if you watch it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment for me. Not because I don't have kids, but because I don't like that '70s show. I think that '70s show is one of the most overrated comedies from that era. So yeah, as soon as I saw the trailer for it, I'm just like, yeah, it's definitely not for me. And what you're saying makes sense. Like, I was getting some Full House vibes from it. I'm like, that '70s show never struck me as a Full House thing. But then they're smoking pot in the basement or whatever, and I'm just like, okay, there it is. I'm just like, they're doing the same thing that they did back then, because we got to ape the style of the original show, which I didn't think was that great to begin with.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because that '70s show was supposed to be like the anti-sitcom. Like, this is Friends, but we're gonna do it different. Like, they're gonna be druggies, and they're gonna do this, and they're gonna do that. They're gonna talk a lot more about sex. This does not feel like it's anti anything. It feels like a Nickelodeon. I'm gonna say Nickelodeon because Nickelodeon gets more risque than like Disney does. It's like a Nickelodeon show thrown in a bit more risque. Like, you're getting closer to that '70s show with some of the risque stuff they talk about, but it still feels like a Nickelodeon show within that '70s show, because all the stuff with the adults feels like the original that '70s show. So it's a weird melting pot of shows.
I only like the fact that they used Cheap Trick in the original show.
Oh, the new remix, the remix of that for the new show is awful. It is awful.
Yeah. Just another, like, that's why I'll keep away from it, because I'm like, don't ruin my Cheap Trick.
Yeah, it's like some like '90s like style remix. Yeah, I'm good. We skip it every time. My daughter even hates it. She's like, this song sucks.
Maybe they'll fix it for
She has
season
good
2.
taste then. Good.
It's weird to watch a show where they're all actually teenagers in real life, because all the kids are actually kids, like 15, 16-year-olds. But like I said, it's good enough for me to keep watching it with her because we're having a good time together. But I don't know that I would recommend it to everybody, because it's not that '70s show. Like, it has hints of it. Like, the first episode feels like that '70s show because Eric's in it, Donna's in it, and then you get a quick cameo from Kelso and Jackie. But
I just want it to be revealed maybe at the end, like, oh, this is all in, what's the name of that one town Wanda took over? And that they're just living in the sitcom format because Wanda forces them to, and this is just one of the phases.
That would be funny.
Because what's her name? Deborah Jo. Is her name Deborah Jo Rupp?
yeah.
Yeah, she was in WandaVision, right?
Yeah, and she's coming back for the Agatha series.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Fun. Yeah.
Everyone lives there, yeah.
Yeah, it's 2.5 out of 5 for me. It's middle of the road. I've gotten a bit pickier, I think, with sitcoms down the road. And I think there's a time and place for sitcoms, but you got to do it right. I have gotten pickier, man. I watch, which sitcom do I watch? I watch The Connors, and that's about it, sitcom-wise. Because I think The Connors has done really well. Home Economics, I don't know if I'd consider that a sitcom. That's with And I've completely like stopped liking the Goldbergs, but for some reason I keep watching it. It's because it's like my comfort blanket. I keep going, hoping that it gets good again. But even the creator of the show, Adam F. Goldberg, took his name off the show like 4 years ago, and he like down talks it like so much in the press.
If
But,
the wrestler Goldberg isn't in the show 95% of the time, I don't want to watch it.
That's not about
I
that
mean,
Goldberg.
I know.
It's an ABC show, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
And so ABC is owned by Disney. So Disney is milking, like I said last week, milking those sweet money teats.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that the Connors is on ABC because it doesn't feel like an ABC show. It feels more like an NBC show because they also get pretty risque.
Oh,
Yeah.
they'll beat those horses to death. So
Those poor horses.
yeah, poor horses.
Zombie movies. I recently watched the original Dawn of the Dead again. I absolutely loved it, and I've been watching the. I'm going to make a very bold statement right here, and I have my reasons. I think the Night of the Living Dead remake is better than the original, and the reason I say that is because Barbara is not just sitting on a couch crying for 15 minutes. Like, she's actually a character and not just a wimp on a couch for a good portion of the movie. Because I really like the Barbara character in the second one, and I think she's better done. Sorry.
Is that
Send
where
an
brains
email.
come from for the title of the show? Is this the topic of brains?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombies. What about you guys? What you guys been watching? Did you guys see the remake of Night of the Living Dead from the 90s with Tom
I think
Savini
so.
as the director?
I think so.
You
I
should
still
check
think
it out.
it's the first one, but
It's got Keith David is in it. It was recommended to me by Mick, and it's really good. Even Dan, I think, liked it. But I recommend the Night of the Living Dead remake because I like the new adaptation of Barbara. Like, the movie's pretty much the same, only she's not just a damsel in distress.
okay.
I mean, that's cool. I don't mind what you called like the wimpification of Barbara in the original because there was clearly other issues going on there aside from the zombie thing that caused her to kind of shut down mentally and emotionally a little bit. Like, you know, lost her brother. Her brother was kind of a gaslighting D-bag. So, like, she was already sort of mentally fragile, and then the horrific stuff really happens. So it kind of made sense in that version for her to go catatonic. I'd be curious to see, like, what they do with the character in a different version of it. As long as it does, like, did it change up anything significantly in terms of the arc of the story itself, or okay?
No, I think I would actually
take me off because it's like that's the whole point of that finale of that whole ending. It's like
I think I would actually recommend this to you to check out, Mike. I think you might like it, or at least like the differences. And like I said, it's directed by Tom Savini. I don't know if that was his only film that he made, but I know he wanted to do some other things differently, but they wouldn't let him. So I'm curious to hear what you think about that, Mike. What kind of zombie movies do you guys like? What have you been watching? I know, Mike, you recently watched the original Night of the Living Dead, didn't you?
I mean, I revisit it every Halloween, just as kind of like a tradition. And like I was saying, like that's why, you know, I don't mind its antiquated kind of look at certain characters because, you know, it was what it was for the time and so forth. I definitely like Day of the Dead. Out of that first clump of Romero zombie movies, Day of the Dead is my favorite just because of, you know, it actually takes a hard mirror to humanity overall. It's like, are we worth salvaging at the end of the day? This is how we act. If this is where, you know, catastrophe takes us. And when you sympathize with a zombie more so than any of the human characters, like, yep. So I honestly haven't watched any zombie related stuff recently. I don't know. I'll get back into it.
I haven't seen Day of the Dead yet. I need to add that to my list. I did watch the sequel to Dawn of the Dead, the movie Zombie, and I really like that movie a lot.
The sequel.
Yeah.
As in, like, Italians tried to figure out a way to cash in on it.
Yeah, it's called Zombie, but it's technically supposed to be Dawn of the Dead 2, and then there's a Zombie 3, which is really confusing because there's no Zombie 2, because Zombie 2 is essentially Dawn of the Dead.
Lots of Filipinos and bit parts in those, because you get to film in the Philippines for a little bit, or at least in the West Coast, where there's a lot of the Filipino people.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like a Romero movie, the Zombie. I've been trying to find Zombie 3, 4, and 5, even though I've heard they're not very good. But I'm curious to see I like the zombie subgenre quite a bit, more so than I did when I was younger.
If we're talking about the same Zombie 3, just get ready for any and all rules that had to do with Romero zombies to be thrown out the window, because Zombie 3 is just like, we're giving you everything.
And then Return of the Living Dead is another favorite of mine. It's I had not seen that movie until a few years ago, but it's everything that I remembered stereotyped about zombies, saying brains and all that fun stuff. That's a pretty funny flick.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead is still probably my favorite zombie movie, just because of how lighthearted it is. I like comedy horror more than I like horror.
Yeah, it's like lighthearted and it's pretty faithful to being a zombie movie too. Yeah, for sure. And so I got a PS5 recently, and
Congrats.
I for the first time in my life, I think like a PlayStation console is better than an Xbox or Microsoft console, which I'm really surprised by. I still like my Switch better because I like Mario and Donkey Kong and stuff more than any other game in the world. But I think I mentioned it last week. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, the remake, on the PS5. And the thing that I really like about the PS5 is I think their version of Game Pass is better because you can get like actual Sony releases. So it's got Spider-Man 2, or Miles Morales Spider-Man, and Last of Us 2. I think, I'm sorry to say this as a Microsoft fanboy, like I was a stan of Microsoft for a long time, and I'm telling you right now that I think PlayStation did something with this because graphics are unbelievable. The God of War Ragnarok is one of the best games I've ever watched somebody play before. Like the story is phenomenal. I watched Tony play it. We have a lot of fun, but the story is phenomenal. The voice acting is phenomenal. The attention to detail, like that little head hanging as you're playing the game, the mouth is actually moving. And to me, as an old man watching somebody, it's like when my dad first saw like the PlayStation 1 and he saw like the football game, like, wow, that looks so real. Like that experience is happening to me now. Like I can't believe like that looks like an actor like on the screen almost. But they're Game Pass, man, because they actually put PS1 and PS2 and PS3 games on their Game Pass thing, and that's something Microsoft is lacking in. Like there's not a lot of Xbox One or 360 games thrown into their Game Pass, and that's a shame because I think that they have the potential to be a pretty good service, but Sony is just really knocking it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's always had really good, what is it? Like individual titles. Like I think Sony makes some of the best video games that up to like Naughty Dog and all those that get generated from their kind of internal development teams. Like I think they're one of the strongest in that regard. Nintendo and them, right? Microsoft leans heavily into third party like development, but I think Sony does a great job in terms of developing games. It's great. I just wish they were more multiplayer friendly or multi-format, right? Because we had to beg and plead for them to get to Steam.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is like, have you tried like cross-play with anyone else who is a console generation below or anything like that? Like,
I haven't really.
Okay.
I usually, but a lot of my PlayStation experience so far has been watching Tony play. Metro is the other game he's playing now, and I'm really digging that storyline too. I don't know if you guys have played the Metro series, but I haven't gotten a lot into the multiplayers or playing online. I have a friend who wants to play the new Fallout tonight online, so I might try that out with her. But not yet. But I agree with Justin. There is not a lot of multiplayer games on the PlayStation, and that's kind of sucks. But I've been enjoying playing Jeopardy with Kylie on the PlayStation 5. And I realize I'm a lot smarter than I realized because I'm doing really well with the non-pop culture questions. What's up, Sturdy? I cannot wait. Sturdy and I on the Scene Stomps channel today, we are recording, and it's going to air sometime next week. We're recording Does It Suck? Featuring the movie Waterworld. And I cannot wait to revisit Waterworld because I've seen it once in the 90s. And I remember not disliking it. Like I remember enjoying the movie.
He drank his own pee. It's bad.
But I'm curious to see what this other water movie, like after Avatar, is going to be like now. I picked it up on 4K. Like I really committed to this review. I ordered it on Amazon. I got my 4K in the mail. I am in.
How much is Waterworld 4K? 50 cents? Do they give it to you? Like it's not good.
It's like $14. I've heard recently
$14.
There's a lot of people coming around on Waterworld. Like,
bro.
I mean, yeah, people. It's the reappraisal cycle. People are like, "Oh, yeah, it's a hidden gem." Like, my honest opinion, because I'm not gonna be on the show, but like my honest opinion on it is that there's stuff that works. Like the logistics of that world are actually fun to kind of watch. Like the production, you can't argue that the production design is like second to none. Like stuff actually like looks like it functions really well within that world. It's just that the lead.
Yeah, the
The
concept
lead
was a lot
tracks.
of fun. Like me as a kid, I think it came out in the 90s, right? I remember watching it around then, but like I loved the idea of it, but man, it was boring to me. Like him peeing into a cylinder and then drinking it was the highlight of that movie. I was like, what the hell are we doing? Like,
And there's something about 90s Dennis Hopper movies where you can tell he's kind of sort of checked out, but he's still trying something. So between this and Super Mario Brothers, like boom, boom. Good.
That's the double feature you should watch today. Do Waterworld and go right into Mario.
I don't remember it. Sturdy says he's never seen it, so I can't wait to kind of get his take on watching it for the first time and now.
Yeah, well, don't let me sway you. Hopefully you enjoy it. I want you to. But
Yeah, you got to experience it for yourself. Honestly.
Justin, it's me. Nobody sways my opinion on anything.
Sure.
I like
I'll
what I
start
like.
Sturdy more. But yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah. So yeah, no, I agree. Like. It's hard to ever beat Nintendo in my eyes because they have so many games that I like, but this PlayStation 5 is pretty slick. And I'm sure it's the same for the PS4. The only thing I give Microsoft the edge up on over PlayStation is I like their interface better. Like I like
Speaking of Nintendo, I downloaded a soundboard. Let me know if you can hear this.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Nice.
Sorry, that was loud.
Look at that, guys.
Maybe you can
Geeks
use
podcast.
You can use that for whenever Max is about to curse. You just be like, "That mother."
Yeah.
What a delay, Justin. What a delay.
Dang it. I gotta get better at that.
We're gonna be like live ABC in like the 90s where they would say the F word and then they'd block it. Or it was MTV, like you'd hear the word and then they'd mute the word after.
Yep. It definitely have to be a post process though, because curses go by so fast though that even like last week we were like, wait, did we curse? Who cursed? What?
We had 2 F words last week. It was me and then Max. But that's pretty good. We've had 0 today.
They go by so fast.
Well,
that's the thing. It's like,
yeah, I mean, let me highlight the demonetization clock. We're doing great. I should change it to Mike because Mike asked. But yeah, it's good.
Nice. And it's actually been longer than that.
Well, I paused it because I thought we had ruined it during the video.
Courtney Cox almost ruined us.
Yeah. So I reevaluated and said, screw it, we'll run it. But
also we were well into the, I think like you were saying, it's like only the first
it's like
of the
first,
video. So.
8
So.
minutes.
We're playing by the rules, algorithm.
Yeah.
If you're out there listening, which I know you are.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I love this. Production value. That's right, guys. It only took
I
us
just have so many things to push. I'm sorry, Mike.
It's turning into the morning zoo now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Listen,
golly
you gotta
gee,
soundboard
Justin.
when I use it. Yeah.
I
Still,
love this.
We're gonna have Hulk Hogan on to talk about his recent ruffle.
I knew Mike was gonna enjoy this. I was like, in my mind, as soon as I started like playing with this soundboard, I was like, who are the people there, and what are they gonna say? I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go down this road.
All right, everybody. 10th caller wins tickets to see Yanni. Let's get those calls in right now. Hi, you're on the air.
All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Production value, folks. Took us 10 years. We have production value.
Long time caller or long time listener, first time caller.
I love calls on radio shows because sometimes you can't even understand the caller.
We should just turn into the Phil Hendry show where he does all the voices. Oh my dear Lord. Well, let me tell you, madam.
So, Justin, what have you been reading this week? Anything fun that you can recommend to our audience?
I think so.
Hold on, Justin. I got a caller right here coming from Minnesota.
I was reading the book Saga.
Very good.
I enjoyed it. And my dog is barking in the background, so I apologize. But Saga's great. It's like Romeo and Juliet, I think, where I'm at in terms of the story. You have 2 people from different planets. One's a moon of the original planet. And they make a baby, and that's kind of ruffling some feathers.
Yeah.
And let me go see what the heck my dog's doing.
Your dog is pretty upset about it.
I'll be right back.
How
we
dare
need
they make a baby?
Justin Dog's monetization.
Oh my gosh, Justin is on top of like production game right now. He's just like BRB. It's not longer like Burt Reynolds.
Well,
which that would-
Justin's like, let's take the Three Geeks podcast to the next level. Like, let's try to really go for it this year, man. He's not kidding. He's got
not kidding.
he's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I want that be all right back thing for my screen too.
It needs to be the old like technical. You need to come up with like a technical difficulties image or something like that. Someone messing with wires or something. But I'll pick up where Justin left off. I so again mentioned Ninja Turtles fan. So I've been reading the IDW comic for years now that they've been putting out, like their longest running Ninja Turtle series ever. And they're in this big crossover event called the Armageddon game, where basically like all these different factions are like collaborating or working against each other. You got the Turtles and their allies in one section. You've got like Krang and his, developing kind of agenda. You've got the Rat King is like a big like otherworldly god in this universe. So he's the one orchestrating all this. He's like the Thanos of it all. 1 second here. I got to plug in my laptop because it is dying. You've got other interstellar adventures taking place, and so it's all coming together pretty well, I find. But it's a lot of tie-ins too. That's the thing, though. They're getting you with all. They have the checklist of like, be sure to get the Alliance number 2 and get opening moves 3 or whatever. And here's the main storyline. And so I'm able to follow it pretty much okay. They're all on the same page, and it works chronologically pretty well. But it's just like, man, it's a big crossover. And it's going to go 8 issues.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Have you guys seen these yet?
That's all right.
What's up?
Have you guys seen these
Oh, yeah.
toys?
They have a comic book series where they meet up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with the Ninja Turtles are morphing. I think that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Well, in the because I have the original, it's like a 5-part comic book series. Like Tommy Oliver joins the Foot Clan for his own personal reasons, and Shredder like figures out pretty early on who he is, so he like steals his morpher thing, and Shredder becomes the Green Ranger, and goes to like war with
That's
Rita.
Awesome.
And the other Power Rangers get sapped of their powers, but Zordon like instills the powers to the Turtles. So like the second half of the crossover, the Turtles and April are the Power Rangers.
I need to read this. How did I miss this? I'm
I
all
know.
in.
There's a sequel series coming too.
I know
That's
about
awesome.
the new one coming. But I didn't know. That's awesome.
We
should devote a whole podcast to that.
It's not as good as the Batman TMNT crossovers. Like I still like those more just because I'm a Batman fan. But it's solid. Like I love Ninja Turtle crossovers. They've met Batman, the Rangers, Ghostbusters. Like
I've
they
read
had
the
2
Ghostbusters one.
Yeah, I read the
crossovers.
Ghostbusters one. I like the Ghostbusters a lot.
And I read the
Really
Batman one, and I watched the Batman 1 movie.
So, not to go on a tangent, but Jason, we're getting so much snow. Like, it is piling up.
Yeah, that's really why I'm really glad we canceled the recording tonight, because my internet tends to get spotty when it's like this. And luckily, so far, I've been immune because I got to record Mattalk after this. But I'm not driving anywhere today.
Speaking of Rangers, so I talked to you a little bit about the Once and Always special, right?
Yes, I am stoked for that. I'm afraid to play the trailer. I knew I could play the Scream one because I saw other YouTube channels doing it. I'm afraid to play the trailer for this, but I am glad to see like some of this original cast. Like they're coming back, and I believe it's actually like a short movie or an actual episode where they're playing their roles. And we get Walter back who played Zach. We get David Yost back as Billy. I don't know the rest of their names. We get Adam, the second Black Ranger. We get Rocky, the second Red Ranger. Kat, the second Pink Ranger. They cast a young lady to be Trini's daughter, and I'm really liking everything I've seen from this so far. And I am all in. Like I thought this was going to be an episode of their new like Power Rangers Beef Morphers or whatever it's called, and I didn't want that. Like I didn't want to watch them in that, but I am excited for this. There's no way it works continuity-wise, but I don't care. Power Rangers doesn't really have good continuity anyway. But I'm all in. Like I can't wait. They got the original voice of Alpha back, and original Rita Repulsa is back as well. So
is David Fielding part of it?
I don't know. I've only seen like those. I know Amy Jo Johnson recently posted on Instagram. She's like, I didn't say no. I said, but I didn't say yes to what they initially offered me, and then I never heard back.
So,
And then there's somebody suited up as the Green Ranger in the trailer, and I know it's not Jason David Frank because he was filming something else and turned it down.
Right.
So I'm really curious who that's going to end up being. But I'm all in. Like, I'm excited as the fan I am. I don't think they're going to win new Power Rangers fans, but it's definitely going to be fun to go back and watch.
There's plenty of old Power Ranger fans from.
yeah, I think it'll be good old nostalgia hit for the old fans.
I was watching something on YouTube. It had Walter and Austin who played the original Red and Black Ranger. And my mom's like, who are they? And I'm like, she stopped by. I'm like, it's the original Power Rangers guy. She's like, that black guy does not look like he's old enough to be an original Power Ranger. I'm like, no
incredible.
joke. He looks like he's still a teenager. Like, it's unbelievable.
Black
yeah,
don't
he's
crack,
black.
man. Black don't crack. That saying exists for a reason. It's like he looks good.
Max and I were talking about that. Like, black people stay young for so long, but they're not. Like, there's a point where they just stop looking young, but it goes.
That's for all of us.
No, dude, look at me. I mean, we gradually build to old age.
I've looked this way consistently for about a decade, so maybe there's
Mike don't crack.
this side of my face. If you see like the big part that's developing in my hair somewhere, I'm gonna join a monastery in like the next year or so.
Oh.
That's right, Sturdy. That's right. Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. I'm super in. But I slacked in the reading area. I'm reading my book that I've been reading, but as far as comic book reading go, I've been really like slacking. I got the Power Rangers Godzilla comic books, and I haven't read them yet. I'm looking forward to diving. I love the crossovers that they're doing in comic books in general. Like, I'm all in. Like, I wish they would animate some of this stuff. Like, I would love to see the animated Power Rangers Turtles crossover, especially after Mike sold me on it. Like, animate that. Like, let's watch that. Because the last Turtles crossover was fun to watch, the Batman one.
I'm sure they'll get around to it at some point. I know it's always when these crossovers, it's always like a logistical thing because different studios. Well, for a while, Power Rangers was owned by Nickelodeon, but now they're is it Disney or
Disney sold them to Netflix and Hasbro. Netflix has the streaming rights.
So I don't know. The Hasbro and Netflix might be more willing to play than if something was owned by Disney, because like that was the thing. Is like I'm like this works great for the page, but like animation wise, or at least like even if you were attempting to make a feature, like how do you get like a Warner Brothers property mixed in with Nickelodeon? And they did it. So I mean, it's feasible. You just have to get all these different licenses on the same page.
Right.
The one thing that I like that Netflix and Hasbro seem to be doing is, since the original cast left Power Rangers, they've never used the same cast for more than one season because they didn't want to pay more money.
Gotcha.
Greedy, give us money. But so far, Netflix has used the same cast in 3 different seasons. So I'm glad for that, because you want to be able to grow with characters. You don't want to just have to reset every year and so forth. I have not seen the new Power Rangers, but I'm glad that they're at least letting this cast grow a little bit. Maybe actually paying them some money.
Every Ranger we've listened to or talked to has always said how much they hung over their head around like, we'll find a new Yellow Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you keep messing around, you're going to find out.
Yeah. Rangers need a union.
That's
like,
right. That's right.
It's union time.
Oh yeah, they did say that because
Collective bargaining agreement.
Well, that's what happened with the original. That's why you had, basically the new red, yellow, and black Rangers take over in the original, right? Was because 3 of them were like, look, we need better wages for this show.
Yeah, you're making so much money off of our likeness, and they tried to do the Friends thing. They tried to unite the whole cast, and that's why Austin and Jason David Frank had such a problem for so long. Is because Jason David Frank's like, no, this show's paying me. I'm not gonna.
Right. I know Amy Jo Johnson has expressed some regret when she left. She expressed that she didn't leave sooner with the others too.
Yeah,
but.
Like she wanted to leave sooner, or she should.
Or she
wanted more money. They should have wanted more money.
Yeah,
Sure.
They were ripped off. Like the toys were selling phenomenally. It was the number one thing in America for so long. Like they should have been, a little nice to them. Like, all right, we're gonna give you guys a little bit of money. You can't even go out in public anymore without getting
business,
mobbed.
man. If they can screw you, they will.
I mean, I'm not I'm not thoroughly shocked that a show that is 50% borrowed Japanese footage from a Sentai show, is gonna cut corners still. Like, I'm not that surprised, but yeah, that's too bad. And given some of the stuff we've heard about what production's like on one of those shows and stuff, how hard it is, like you said, for cast members, especially if they're not being financially compensated properly. Like, yeah, it's rough. Like, yeah, Power Rangers Union. Come on, let's get this together, guys. You can do it.
Yeah, we did a panel in Monroe, and they were talking about how, if they made it known that if you didn't like your role anymore, they had somebody else waiting to take over for you. Because they said that one lady got fired and was recast the next day, and nobody knew that she was even let go until they saw somebody else show up in the role. Like, hi guys, how you doing? I'm the new Yellow Ranger, or Pink Ranger, or whatever. But guys, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I try to keep these shows under an hour now because Instagram won't let me upload if it's over an hour. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are all very appreciative. We've got a lot of stuff dropping this week, a new Yoo-Hoo and Tank, because I was busy Friday and didn't get a chance to upload it, but that's coming this week. They make, what do you guys make, cinnamon rolls?
Cinnamon rolls. It's like based on a TikTok recipe that Max and his wife do. So it was a lot of fun. Hopefully take a listen. It was good.
Yes, and join us next week. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more reviews, a lot more movies to watch. I think I'm gonna watch that movie about Weinstein.
Oh, okay.
I think it's about the two ladies that expose him.
Yeah, I mean, it looked interesting. It's on streaming now.
A documentary, or is it like
No. It's like, well, kind of, but it's like they borrow from reality, but it's its own thing.
It's got it's got pretty good solid reviews, and it's got the lead actress from The Big Sick, and I really love her. So that's what made me want to see it. Is like, I gotta watch this. She's in it. So, and then Sturdy says, let's do something at some point, gents. Absolutely, man. We would all love to be on your show talking about horror, or you come on, we'll talk about horror. It sounds like a blast. And again, check out Mike at youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Mike's got some stuff in the pipeline that he's going to be working on here very
eventually.
soon.
Yeah. I've been dragging my heels because the new year and the holiday season really kicked my butt, but I'm back. I'm back starting today. I'm going to start doing some stuff.
All right, so you guys can find Justin and I at 3 Geeks Podcast on all social medias, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell button to notify you when we do another.
Do we have a bell sound effect?
Oh, let me.
Justin, come on.
Dude, there's so many options. There's so many.
One more.
Don't worry, guys.
I found it. Oh, that's a lame bell.
Justin is no Fred Norris, but maybe at some point he could be.
What do you want from me?
Well, thanks for that, Justin. Yeah. Next up, it is Iris from the Goo Goo Dolls.
That's a long fall. Good grief. There we go. Nailed it.
Yeah. No Fred Norris, but you're still.
I'll find the right one. I'll sneak in there.
Sorry, Jason. We're pushing it to that hour limit.
Yeah, we are.
But
I have so many buttons to push.
Goodbye. Recycle your droids.
Recycle your droids.
Bye.